Hi, everybody. This is Tommy Lasorda. Listen to the Sandlot, the best thing that could happen to you.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Are you crying?
It's a part of our past, Ray.
There's no crying.
It reminds us of all that once was good.
There's no crying in baseball.
Just a bit outside.
Baseball will be very, very good to me.
It's a simple game. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball.
Personally, I think we got hosed on that.
The Sandlot Radio Network is on the air. And now, starting pitcher for the Sandlot, former pro player and Major League scout, Ted Howard.
This is National League All-Star Justin Upton.
Hi, this is Shane Victorino.
Hi, this is Albert Pujols.
Hi, this is David Wright.
It's Derek Jeter of the New York Yankees, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Welcome to The Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. It's a place of our own. It's our field. It's our neighborhood. It's our team. It's our home. The Sandlot is presented by the Sandlot Radio Network and sponsored by Terramar Collective, Econo Air, South Bay Credit Union, Max Graphics LA, and Grit Sports Collective. The Sandlot returns for its 12th season and second on our new home, Fox Sports Radio 610 AM and 106.7 FM. We look forward to bringing you the childhood Sandlot stories from the biggest names in baseball, including players, coaches, scouts, front office personnel, and even media, as they reflect on their road to the big leagues. On last week's show, we ran down who's hot and who's not in MLB with our resident baseball fanatic and producer, Nick Wright. We also had a baseball broadcasting veteran, now the play-by-play man for the Dodgers TV and radio. He truly is a man with a golden voice. He's Emerson College's Professor Tim Neverett. This week on The Sandlot, we have a former Major League pitcher who is now the roving pitching instructor for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was the bat boy for the post-24 Legion team I played for way back in 1984. He's a Sandlot favorite. He's Matt Hedges. We also have our resident baseball fanatic and producer back for another session of Who's Hot, Who's Not. Nick, thanks for being here to run down who's hot and who's not in MLB.
All right, Tad, I'm glad to be back. How can I not start in the AL East? The New York Yankees, once again, they're on a 2-game win streak. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Aaron Judge, he has 3 home runs in his last 3 games. Well, 4 home runs in his last 3 games, but has a homer in his last 3. I mean, good Lord. The New York Yankees are hot. Also, the Toronto Blue Jays, they're on a 3-game winning streak, and they're 8-2. Alejandro Kirk, he's going nuts, hitting .484 in his last 7. Are the Yankees clearly the top of that division?
You know, it's still a long season, but they have been playing well in their last 10. They're 41-25. They got the best record in the American League East. That division has played really well over the last 10 games. Every team in the division has a winning record, including at the bottom of the barrel there. The Orioles have played really well in their last 10. They're 7-3. And so they're back to respectable 12 games under 500. But that division right now is playing really well. So it's hard to say. And Yankees need to be healthy. If they are, they should win the division.
I'm going to actually go across the country here. I got to go to the AL West. The Houston Astros are sitting on top. They're 37-30. They're 6-4 in their last 10. But I got to tell you, my Angels, they're scrappy once again, winning their last 3. They are now second place. They're tied with Seattle at 33-34. They are both 4 games back behind Houston. The Angels, my guy, Joe Adele, he has 11 home runs in his last 15 games, 4 home runs in his last 7. What do you think about the AL West? Could the Angels maybe, I feel like they do this every year. We're in about June, they get hot and then they flame out. But I don't know, this year, could it be a little different year?
I don't think so. I think that this division is very timid in every way. The Astros at 37-30, leading by 4 games. The second place Mariners are 1 game under 500 and 4 back, and they're 2-8 in their last 10. It's a volatile division. And we know about the Angels. They're streaky. They had won that. They went 7 in a row or 8 in a row, and then they tanked. And that's just what happened to the Mariners. They were playing really well, and then they gone 2-8 in their last 10. So that division to me is everybody's hot and cold. And right now, I think the Astros probably will win the division, but the Rangers is a team to watch late in the year.
One thing I do have to ask you before we get out of that division, the center fielder for the Athletics, Denzel Clark, had one of the best catches I've ever seen Do you know the play that I'm talking about against the Angels where he pretty much stole a home run in center field? Is that one of the best catches in baseball history?
I believe so. I mean, robbing of the home run is one of the coolest plays there is in the game. And we've seen some beautiful ones over the years. But, man, I don't know if anybody can match that one. And even Mike Trout's catch, which was almost in the spot that Clark caught it because it was at Angel Stadium. It made that catch. It made that catch look pretty easy. And Clark had 3 catches in the last week that were similar to that.
And he just got called up a few weeks ago. That's what's insane as well.
And, he's on a team that they bring guys up and down. You get a chance and you do something great and you're sticking around. He might end up being a superstar.
And let's go to the AL Central, Tad, where the Detroit Tigers, they're 6-4 in their last 10. They have a nice little hefty 7.5 game lead of the Minnesota Twins. They did lose just last night, but I mean, they have still a firm lead on that AL Central.
And that division, again, the last 10 games, nobody's played well. Twins 500, White Sox 500, but the Guardians and Royals are 4-6. And then the only team that's played well in the last 10 is the Tigers at 6-4, and that's kind of their pace for the whole season.
The thing about the Chicago White Sox, I mean, the new Pope was seen in the Vatican with a Chicago White Sox hat. They could use a few Hail Marys. So, that covers the AL Central. And, Ted, we got to go to the NL East now. The Mets, who are on a 6-game winning streak, they are 8-2 in their last 10. They are 45-24. They have a nice little 5.5 game lead on the Philadelphia Phillies. Juan Soto is now heating up. He is hitting .440 in his last 7, had a home run just the other night. How about the Mets? They are unstoppable right now.
You had said it before that the Mets had played really well and Soto hadn't done much yet, and now he's getting hot. So
and here he is.
This is when he gets scary.
And even Pete Alonso, who's been absolutely hot as well, he's hitting .370 in his last 7 games with 3 home runs. The Mets are just absolutely scary right now. And, the Phillies have been a little streaky. They did win last night, but they're still 3-7 in their last 10. Schwarber has been in a bit of a funk. But still, the Washington Nationals, 14.5 games back of the Mets. I just think the Mets are just too good in that division.
Man, and that division has played really bad in the last 10. Again, Mets 8-2, 6-game winning streak. But Phillies 3-7, Nationals 2-8, Braves 2-8, and Marlins 2-8. So, man, there's some bad baseball being played in the National League East right at this very moment. And the Braves probably the worst because I think 5 of those games had a lead and blew and lost by 1. And so they're really struggling right now.
And Ted, I want to go to NL Central. Your Chicago Cubs, they did lose just the other night, but I mean, they're still got a 5-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. They are 41-27. And you need to help me out because I go along their lineup and there's nobody even hitting 300. There's just a bunch of consistent guys hitting in the mid to late 200s and just with quality pitching as well.
And good defense. They got some speed on the bases. They're exciting to watch right now. They're young. And the other thing about the Cubs, they got guys that are, they're only hitting 250 or whatever, but they got a bunch of guys that are thumping it out of the park. 5 guys with 10 or more home runs, and most of them got closer to 20.
And Ted, got to go to the NL West. Good Lord, look at this division. The Dodgers, they just won last night. But I got to start with the San Francisco Giants. They're 8-2. They're on a 7-game winning streak. You got Jung-Hoo Lee, who's been on a tear, hitting .350. I mean, and they have guys like Robbie Ray's been consistent as a pitcher. They are right on the heels of the Dodgers.
Hey, they got a guy leading that club now in Buster Posey that will make good moves, has made good moves. And Willie Abrams hasn't even started hitting yet. And, man, he had an unbelievable season last year. Got a huge contract with the Giants. And if he starts to produce, man, watch out, Dodgers.
And even the Padres, the Dodgers just beat the Padres in a series, but the Padres are just right there too at 38-29, 2 games out from the Dodgers. So I feel like that division is just that 3-headed monster that's just gonna go the whole rest of the way.
And the Diamondbacks, they've 7-3 in their last 10. And when they win like they have in their last 10, they look really good. Their offense tears it up. They got some guys through that lineup that can really hurt you. And so don't count them out either.
And Tad, let's go through the home run leaders. Cal Raleigh is just hanging up there at 26, even though Aaron Judge has been on a home run streak. Like I said earlier, he's at 25, but Cal Raleigh at 26, Shohei Ohtani with at 23. Even though Schwarber's on a little bit of a slump, but he's still hanging in at 4th at 21. Corbin Carroll for the D-backs and Eugenio Suarez have 19 home runs for Arizona. my guy Taylor Ward with 18 homers. And then Aaron Judge, good Lord, he has just a shade under 400. He's hitting 394 for the year. And then Jacob Wilson, who's barely known for the Athletics, he's hitting at 366. He has 93 hits for the year. And Freddie Freeman will just not go away. He's hitting 347 for the Dodgers. And Jose Ramirez for Cleveland hitting 331. And I also mentioned Alejandro Kirk. He's been on a tear lately. He's hitting 325 for the year. And Will Smith, he's always consistent for the Dodgers, hitting 324.
I also want to go back to hitting and mention the RBI leaders this season. Pete Alonso is coming alive lately. He is first in the league with 63 ribbies. Aaron Judge, obviously still hot with 59. Pete Crow Armstrong from the Chicago Cubs and Rafael Devers of Boston at 57 RBIs. Along with Sia Suzuki, Chicago has a couple guys who are just raking in runs. Cal Raleigh has 53 RBIs. Eugenio Suarez with 52. Wilmer Flores from the Giants has 51.
Pretty impressive for catchers, and there's two of them in that top six that you just mentioned that are hitting over 300. And then to see Cal Raleigh with leading the major leagues in home runs as a catcher, we didn't see that a whole lot back in the day.
And I've got to go to pitching here. Max Fried for the Yankees just won the other night against the Royals. He leads the league with 9 wins, only 1 loss at a 1.84 ERA. Hunter Brown for Houston, who's been hot as well. He has 8 wins, only 3 losses at a 1.82 ERA.
Wow, that's amazing for me. Anything under 2 in this day and age is a really good job of pitching.
And also just underrated, I think I mentioned earlier, Robbie Ray has 8 wins as well, only 1 loss with a 2.55 ERA. I mean, the Giants are just so sneaky this year. I feel like not enough people are talking about them. And we also have Brandon Pfaff for Arizona. He has 8 wins, but has a 5.5 ERA, still getting wins done for Arizona. And also Sonny Gray for St. Louis, still hanging around. He's been in the league for a minute, has 7 wins with a 3.35 ERA.
He's always going to be a guy that eats up innings, keeps his team in the game, ends up with a bunch of wins and a very respectable ERA. Sonny Gray is a very good pitcher. Pfaff is the reason that Arizona Diamondbacks got to the World Series. He pitched so good down the stretch and in the playoffs in the World Series for the D-backs. And he's a young guy from Lexington, Kentucky. We're going to have him on the show.
And Tad, I also want to go through the saves leaders so far this year. You got Robert Suarez from the San Diego Padres. He is smoking with 21 saves, first place. Carlos Estevez from the Kansas City Royals has 19 saves. Then you have a 3-man tie with 18 saves. You got Kyle Finnegan from Washington, Josh Hader from Houston, and Andres Munoz from Seattle. Jeff Hoffman has 17 saves for Toronto. Emilio Pagan from Cincinnati with 16. Edwin Diaz with 15. And it's still weird to see him Angels red now versus Dodger blue, but 37-year-old Kenley Jansen has 14 saves. Even though he has a 4.30 ERA with the Angels, still, so far, I'll take it. And also, Tad, I want to bring up some games coming up that I can't wait to talk about next week. But some upcoming games, we have Senga from the Mets pitching against Washington. You have Skubal pitching again for Detroit against Baltimore. And I really am curious to see if Aaron Judge can continue his home run streak against Kansas City Royals. And with my Angels just finishing a sweep against the Athletics, they're going to Baltimore. Friday, you got Paul Skeens taking on the Cubs, who have been hot as well. And you got one of the best rivalries in sports. You got the Dodgers and the Giants opening up a series in LA. Cannot wait for that series. It's going to be a good one. And I want to see if the Giants can still continue their winning streak. All right, Tad, and that's been Who's Not and Who's Not for the week.
Thanks again to our resident baseball fanatic and producer, Nick Wright, for being a special guest host during our Who's Hot, Who's Not opening segment. Don't go away. We have a favorite of the Sandlot, a man who played for 10 major league teams. We have Matt Hedges when we return to the Sandlot on KAVL, Fox Sports Radio, 610 AM and 106.7 FM. We are Fox Sports. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. I'm your host, Tad Powers. The Sandlot is presented by the Sandlot Radio Network.
This is Clint Barmas, and I'm still listening to The Sandlot.
This is former Major League pitcher Dave Dravecki, and you are listening to The Sandlot.
This is Doug Brocail of the Houston Astros, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Dusty Baker, manager of the Cincinnati Reds, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
This is Joe Mauer of the Minnesota Twins, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Terramar Collective isn't just a brand, it's a tribute. Born from the Southern California coast and inspired by the legacy of a father who helped shape the board riding world literally. Terramar Collective repurposes vintage flannels and rare finds, blending timeless style with surf heritage. Honor the past, wear the story. Find us on Instagram at Terramar Collective. Step up to the plate with EconoAir's solar services. Their solar solutions deliver unbeatable energy savings, keeping your power bills low all season long. Be a game changer. Switch to clean energy today. Sandlot listeners mention the show for an exclusive discount on maintenance or repair. Call EconoAir at 714-333-0130 and hit your energy savings out of the park. With so many banking options out there, why choose South Bay Credit Union? As a nonprofit credit union, they're here to serve you, not shareholders. That means they're able to provide better rates, fewer fees, and more valuable benefits to empower their members to live better and do better. You want to master your money? South Bay Credit Union puts you in control of your money with everyday banking solutions. From checking accounts to home mortgages, credit cards to auto loans, their members have access to the tools they need to achieve their financial goals now and in the future.
Looking for printed apparel for your school, business, sports team, or company event? Max Graphics LA is your solution. Go to maxgraphicsla.com today and check out our options. We offer screen printing, embroidery, and more on clothes from major suppliers. Our graphic designers can help you with your logo or design. We also offer custom online retail shops where we take care of all orders and fulfillment. Visit our website at maxgraphicsla.com or call 310-595-1195 today to get started.
Do you want more than just wins for your kids? Do you want confidence, character, and grit? At Grit Sports Collective, we help young athletes play with purpose and train with passion. With elite coaching in baseball and basketball, we're building more than skills, we're building competitors. Because greatness starts with mindset and is earned through sweat. Grit Sports Collective. Play fierce, train harder. Now enrolling in San Diego, California. Visit gritsportscollective.com and sign up today.
Hi, everybody. This is Rick Mundy, former Major League player, former All-Star, and now broadcaster with the Los Angeles Dodgers. You're tuned in exactly where you need to be. It's Sandlot, and it's baseball.
Talking baseball, the man and Bobby fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Duke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie.
Welcome back to the Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. We're on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Thanks again to our special guest host. He's our neighborhood baseball fanatic and producer, Nick Wright, for the rundown on who's hot and who's not in MLB. Right now, we have D-backs roving pitching instructor, Matt Hedges. Matty, thanks for being a guest on the Sandlot once again.
I'll tell you what, I don't know, was it early 2000s when we did this?
2006 or 7 when you were with the Rockies, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. That would have been 07 probably then.
Yep, and I started in 04.
Great to be with you, brother.
04.
Okay.
But we go back to the summer of 1984. That's the summer that I had played 1 year at Parkland, and I was a young guy, so I could play another year of Legion baseball.
Legion, right.
So I'm playing for Post 24. It just so happens that your brother Kyle's on the team.
Yeah.
And so Matty, who's 5 years younger, decides, well, I probably should stick around and be the bat boy and see what I can pick up on. So Matt was the bat boy for Post 24 in that summer of 84. Your brother Kyle played on the team, lefty. But let's talk about, you got a family that's very extensive. You got a lot of brothers and sisters.
Yeah, so my mom naturally had 7. And I think around 5, she became a legend at Mercy Hospital because she would just have the baby stand up and walk out of the room. So she was legendary. She knew what she was doing. That was what she was born to do. But really, we had 8 because Scott Nagy, we took him in. I want to say it was in 8th grade. He was Kyle's best buddy. He's my brother. So I always say 8 kids, but my mom really only had 7.
Boys and girls, it's 4 and 3 or 5 and 3. Boys.
5 and 2.
5 and 2.
5 and 2.
Wow. And so backyard baseball, backyard Sandlot in Champaign, Illinois, when you got that many brothers. What's going on? And you're one of the young ones.
I was the young one. And, Toby, my brother, he didn't love me being around. So my mom was like, he's going with you. So honestly, like begrudgingly, okay. But that's what I'm seeing not happening with our players that we're getting now is they didn't play wiffle ball. Like I'm teaching pitching and we're talking about shapes and making it go this way or making it go this way. And it's really hard. Not that you would think there was lack of aptitude, but they didn't throw a tape ball, up against a garage and try to strike out your brother. Remember going to Emerson Dexter Field. It was right out the backside of Centennial High School. And I wanted to go deep so bad. We played lob ball and I couldn't get it. I could hit one out of the Little League park, but my brothers were just jacking the ball I can't remember what street that was, but oh man, just striving to compete with my older brothers and their friends. And no matter what it was, hockey on the lake when it was frozen, basketball, you name it. But we were always every single day doing something with a baseball or something that looked like a baseball.
And you think about the competitive nature that creates because you're the young guy trying to compete with your older brothers and the other older kids in the neighborhood. And, you get some leeway with your other kids in the neighborhood because you're the little brother, but not with your brothers.
No.
Hard on you.
No, they didn't want me showing them up, so they were definitely hard. And again, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that they wore me out. They would not let me win. Kyle was a little softy, but Toby and Scott, they would not let me win. So I had to grind for it. And when I did, every now and again, beat him at horse or something, it got ugly. It got ugly. But again, it basically set a different level of compete for me that I wouldn't have known. They're better than me. They're bigger than me, stronger than me. I got to figure out a way.
And you did, because out of all of them, Matt took his game the farthest. But let's talk about a conversation in a classroom that went on in the 5th grade, because I remember the story. And I even believe I remember the 5th grade teacher's name, Mrs. Lavender. Yeah. Did I get that
Mrs.
right?
Lavender. Sheila Lavender, absolutely.
So Mrs. Lavender's going around the room asking everybody what are they going to be when they grow up. And it's the typical, I'm going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a fireman, a cop. I'm going to be an electrician. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to be an architect. And Matt's racking his brain the whole time thinking, well, the only thing that's coming through my head is Major League Baseball player. And so when Mrs. Lavender got to Matt, tell me what you said.
Well, it was one of those, you played it perfectly. Like I did not have anything else that I wanted to do. I could have said what the kid before me said, but I was like, I want to play baseball. I want to be a baseball player. And she, bless her heart, was like, okay, well, seriously, like a real job. And I said, that's all I want to do. And she said, okay, let's move on. It hurt my heart a little bit, hurt my feelings a little bit, but again, no hard feelings there. I mean, I would have said the same thing to a kid. Like, okay, we need to start thinking realistically,
Well, it's all in the heart, isn't it, Matt? Because you made a decision, and it might have been about that time or a little younger. So I want to know, what was it that made you say that in the room that day? Because you're in the 5th grade. I mean, it's a little early to think that I'm going to be a big leaguer, but I did the same thing. I was visualizing it as soon as my grandpa explained how to read a box score to me.
No doubt. That's all we thought about, right? That was all. If I had a chance to see the Cardinals on TV, my dad would take me down and we'd scalp tickets at Busch Stadium and finally get in the 3rd inning when I wanted to watch BP so bad. That's all I wanted to do. I would have literally given my pinky finger to be the bat boy for the St. Louis Cardinals. Like, that's how obsessed I was. And I don't know. You don't know. I mean, it's so difficult. There's a million things, injuries. There's politics that are actually still in the game that I'm seeing, in high school and even in college with a couple of my kids. But it's the only thing that putting all your eggs in one basket is something I did. I wouldn't suggest it, but it's all they were all in that basket.
So that summer of 84, I'm playing for this Post 24 in Champaign, Illinois. My family actually lived in Canada at the time, and I grew up with no dad. So your dad was the voice of reason for me that summer, because I would be an idiot. I'd pitch 2 innings and be all hyped and in the dugout standing up and screaming for my team to get some runs. And I'm not wearing a jacket. And Butch would walk over and say, hey, Tad, calm down, take a deep breath, sit down, put your jacket on, and just watch. And I never forgot that, dude, because up until then, nobody kind of monitored what I was doing in between innings, and I wasn't doing the right thing. And that was the first time I thought about it. So thanks, Butch.
Yeah. No, I remember vividly him telling me, you need to watch this kid pitch. He can flat out pitch. Watch what he does. Watch his mannerisms. Watch how he attacks hitters. And he was talking about you. And I remember vividly, like watching you just carve, like dot down and away. That's one thing that I'm not seeing anymore now. Like we tell our pitchers with the D-backs, you're not going to leave this level unless you can be on time and throw a down and away heater. Because if you can't command the baseball, I don't care. Everyone's throwing harder now. Everyone spins the ball better now. All these metrics are crazy through the roof that are blowing me away. Like, well, I wouldn't have come close to making it, but it doesn't matter, because if you get to the big leagues and you can't command the baseball, you will get shelled and you won't be there. So him telling me to watch you dot down and away, just how you went about it. And listen, he told me all the time, sit down, quit standing up. Like I'd get up and get a drink of water. He'd be like, sit down. I'm like, I got to get some water. But no, I tell my pitchers now. I just filled in Fresno with our low A team, and we had a starter that pitched a great inning, went up onto the rail next to his teammates. I go, hey, stay seated. Stop joking around. It's right here. Stay focused. And the emotional energy that I see, especially in the college game, Tad, the emotional energy these guys are expending after like just a third inning strikeout. I couldn't do it. I was an emotional guy, but I couldn't expend emotional energy, because now if I got to go back out, how do I reel it back in? You know what I mean? So that's another thing that I know my dad taught me that. And maybe he said something to you along the way, but what great times those were.
Well, that was a learning time for me, because at that point, I don't even think I knew how to grip anything. I just kind of put it in my hand. I'd move it around. It feels all right. I'll throw it like that. And it wasn't really, maybe it was a 4-seamer once and then a 2-seamer, but nobody had explained the science of the 4-seamer. And that's bizarre to me. I played a year of college.
Yeah.
I've been in 2 different Legion programs, and nobody knew. I threw a thing called a drop ball, because the way I threw it was like a 12-6, but I called it a drop ball, because that's what it did to me.
Yeah.
And there was things that I did then that I had no sniff about. And like I said, your dad was probably one of the first voices of reason that I experienced.
Yeah, no, he was in it. I remember him vividly taking in kids like kind of underprivileged kids and bringing them over and feeding them and taking them to the games, and, maybe getting them a bat here and there, some cleats. My dad was something else back then, for sure. And he still is. He's still probably right now sitting on his chair watching Fox News. So if I called him, that's what he'd be doing.
And your lefty brother that I played with, Kyle, he ended up coaching there at Centennial for a bunch of years, and he's still there as a teacher, correct?
Yes, he is. I got to wonder when he's going to shut it down, but he's been there forever, since before I left town. So he's a Champaign lifer. He's still at Centennial too.
That is really cool. Now, Maddie, we go into ISU because it's just down the road. You know, I'm guessing that you didn't have too many options out of high school.
No. I actually had a relationship with Tom Deaton when he was at Illinois. I went to his camp, and Tom Flora, maybe, he was the pitching coach. I felt I was going to Illinois. Like, this is, all signs are leading that way. And then they ended up changing coaches. They brought Augie Garrido in, and he told us, anybody from Illinois that thinks they're coming here, you're not. So good luck. He brought in all California boys. And thankfully, when I was playing for Post 24, Andy Schuster was my catcher. He went to Central, really good player. The new coach at ISU came and watched us, because Rod Lovett said, hey, I got a couple kids you might want to take a look at. He came down and on the spot said, I'll give you half the scholarship and you the other half. And the best story, Tad, is when he showed up to my house, my dad was late, and he was sitting there. We're waiting for my dad, and he came in. And Jeff Stewart, the head coach, looked at my dad and goes, took a step back, uh-oh. And I'm thinking, what? How weird is this? That was kind of an odd exchange. My dad had no idea who he was. And he said, listen, you don't remember me. He said, but I was at Tumbalin. I went to Illinois, and I went to Tumbalin, and I was acting like I shouldn't have acted. You physically threw me out. He goes, I'll never forget your face. My dad said, hey, I threw a lot of people out. Don't feel bad. He said, no, your face, when you walked in that door, I almost myself. What a story.
That's unbelievable. Now, you decided with Mrs. Lavender in the 5th grade, I'm going to be a big leaguer. But at what age did you really think it was a possibility?
Well, I did. I had no idea. Thankfully, ISU sent me to the Cape Cod League. And I don't know why. We had LSU guys. We had first rounders up and down the lineup. And I'm sitting there, they're like, where are you from? Illinois State. Oh, yeah, well, I've never really heard of that. But I threw, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 innings that summer. And I did okay. And I thought, wow, this is the premier leg. Maybe, I don't know. And then sure enough, the Dodgers called and after the draft and said, we'll sign you. It's $4,000. We can't give you school. We can't finish that, but we'll fly you down to Vero Beach. And listen, it's not a legitimate deal for you. He said we need roster fillers. We don't have enough players. The draft didn't go like we thought. Would you want to come down and, live out of a suitcase for a half a season and see where it takes you? And I said, absolutely. That's all I want is that opportunity. And
he didn't make it sound very appealing, though, did he, Matt?
No, it wasn't as glamorous as I thought it was going to be. But again, I sat by my phone those 3 days of the draft, and I even saw, this is a great story, the White Sox later on in the draft. This is when they had unlimited rounds, I think. They drafted a girl, and I'm thinking, I still haven't been called. She doesn't even play baseball. This is hurting. This hurts. Like, I felt I was better, but, whatever. So sure enough, years later, I would say 5-6 years ago, myself, Aaron Boone, and Brett Butler, we all went to the same church here in Scottsdale. And they had us come up, and we talked about our career and our faith. And at the end of the night, and I told the story about not getting drafted and the White Sox drafting the girl. And this gentleman walked up to me and said, "Hey, that girl you were talking about, that's my sister." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" No way. Apparently, it was the team president with the White Sox. It was his daughter. And it was kind of just a publicity thing.
They're known
I can't
to do
remember
that.
his name right now. Yeah. So, again, you can't make that up. I probably shouldn't have even, been signed. But you just keep grinding away, and you never know when your opportunity comes. And when it does, hopefully you make the most of it.
Don't go away. When we return, we have more from Matt Hedges. You're listening to The Sandlot right here on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Also streamed live on 610foxsports.com. I'm your host, Tad Powers. The Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. The Sandlot is presented by the Sandlot Radio Network.
Hey, everybody. This is Jeff Houston, and I listen to The Sandlot because I've been in this game for 40 years, and there's nothing like baseball. Woo!
Terramar Collective isn't just a brand, it's a tribute. Born from the Southern California coast and inspired by the legacy of a father who helped shape the board riding world literally. Terramar Collective repurposes vintage flannels and rare finds, blending timeless style with surf heritage. Honor the past, wear the story. Find us on Instagram at Terramar Collective. Do you want more than just wins for your kids? Do you want confidence, character, and grit? At Grit Sports Collective, we help young athletes play with purpose and train with passion. With elite coaching in baseball and basketball, we're building more than skills, we're building competitors. Because greatness starts with mindset and is earned through sweat. Grit Sports Collective. Play fierce, train harder. Now enrolling in San Diego, California. Visit gritsportscollective.com and sign up today.
The heat was unbearable. My AC was striking out and my house felt like a summer game with no shade. Then I called EconoAir. What a game changer. They knocked the heat out of the park and now I'm comfortable year round. Give EconoAir a call today at 714-333-0130. That's 714-333-0130. Sandlot listeners mention the show for an exclusive discount on maintenance or repair with EconoAir.
Looking for printed apparel for your school, business, sports team, or company event? Max Graphics LA is your solution. Go to maxgraphicla.com today and check out our options. We offer screen printing, embroidery, and more on clothes from major suppliers. Our graphic designers can help you with your logo or design. We also offer custom online retail shops where we take care of all orders and fulfillment. Visit our website at maxgraphicla.com or call 310-595-1195 today to get started.
South Bay Credit Union features 3 centrally located branches in the South Bay, 24/7 time-saving digital banking tools, over 30,000 free ATMs nationwide, and a 100% commitment to the South Bay. South Bay Credit Union cares about their community. They've contributed over 3,600 employee volunteer hours. Over 20 local organizations have received donations or sponsorships, and they have raised over $150,000 for the Children's Miracle Network. South Bay Credit Union. Live better, do better, bank better.
This is Aaron Cook.
This is Aaron Rowe.
This is Al Leiter.
This is Chase Headley.
This is Clint Hurdle of the Colorado Rockies, and I listen to The Sandlot.
back to the Sandlot. It's where everybody plays, right here on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Now we have more from Illinois State University player and graduate. He's from the Bubble City, Champaign, Illinois, 11-year Major League pitcher Matt Hedges. We're back with right-handed pitcher Matt Hedges. Matt, thank you for sticking around for a second segment on the Sandlot.
For sure. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, truthfully.
So, mate, we talked about the Sandlot days. We talked about getting into ISU and Cape Cod League. We talked about getting signed with the Dodgers, heading down to Vero Beach with a suitcase and a $4,000 signing bonus and go get him, Tiger. But you were also told, don't expect too much out of this, Matt.
Right. No, yeah, that for sure. That was something that, like, this isn't just I'm not like everybody else. And he's like, no, we need roster filler. We don't know if you're even going to pitch. Just come down. Okay, I'm in.
When you think about being told that, it's almost like what Mrs. Lavender told you. Sorry, Matt, you can't do that. But these guys, they gave you a uniform. Maybe that's the mistake they made because Matty, once you get that uniform on, it's just a matter of getting people out. And then some manager's sitting there in spring training going, well, I'll take Hedges on my roster because he gets everybody out.
Well, I will say Rick Dempsey, my second year after that short season in Yakima, Washington, I was slated to go to Bakersfield. And, we have the meeting. And I know how they go now, being in the room when we have to release a bunch of people. We have this number that we have to release 10 kids today. And Rick Dempsey told me when I ended up making it to the big leagues, he was a bullpen coach in LA. And he said, by the way, I saved you. I said, what do you mean? He said, at the end of spring in 93, he had just retired. So he was actually catching our live BPs. Rick Dempsey. I'm throwing to I think he played 24 years in the big leagues. And he said, you were getting released. He said, but since I caught you, I liked your curveball. He said, so I saved you. And now I know exactly what he means because there's times where, like, anybody want to save this kid? And if you say yes and you have a good reason, they save them. They're saved. So I was supposed to get released in the spring of 93, but Denver hooked me up. And next thing you know, I got another opportunity. It kept happening.
Again, as long as you got the uniform on, Matt, you go get them out. Get those guys out, and that's
no entitlement, just a uni.
Yeah, and hope that somebody's pulling for you in those meetings. Because later on, when I became a scout and went to spring training every year, I'd sit in those meetings and I'd be blown away that there's 200 guys in spring training. This organization likes 5 of them, and nobody wants to stand up for the other 195 of them.
That is so true. It's pretty cold. And it's not something you tell the players. I mean, there's times where, like, listen, the draft is coming. Let's kick it in gear because we're going to draft this many players and we need that much space to absorb them. Take it how you want to, but let's get it in gear. This isn't forever kind of thing. Time is always ticking away. So it is what it is. I mean, this train just keeps rolling with or without you.
So you're in the minor leagues, you're battling your way up. Let's talk about the day that you get the call because you got a big family. And this is a big thing for a family like yours to have one of those guys get to the big leagues. Let's talk about that call and what it meant to you and your family.
Well, I remember vividly like it was yesterday. We were in Tacoma, and Mike Socia was my manager. And just randomly, he said, hey, you got a second? I'm like, yeah. I walked in, and there's my pitching coach. He's sitting in there. I'm like, he goes, shut the door. And I'm thinking, crap, because I just had an outing that wasn't great. And I probably acted like a douche, kind of pouty. I remember it not being good. And I'm thinking, okay, Socia's going to wear me out because he was big on character and how you acted. You were going to be a pro. And he said, remember all those times I told you were going to be you're going to play in the big leagues? And I said, yeah. I mean, because Socia was such an encourager. And I said, yeah. And I was about ready to speak up and say, you know what, that's my bad. It was. And he's like, well, I told you that because you're going tomorrow. And it was, hold on, like, are you serious? Even now, when I've sent guys to the big leagues, there's something about that moment that is unbelievably emotional. Because you know that, like, the realization of your dreams, it's here, it happened. And that's all we wanted, right? I just wanted one day. I wanted one day, that's all I wanted. And Soch, thankfully, was the guy that did it. And as I walked out of the club, out of his office, the whole team knew, and they were all standing there and hugs and all that stuff. So, yeah, my family drove. We played one game in LA, and they were going to go on the road to Houston. And I remember my first major league game was Kevin Brown against Randy Johnson. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to pitch today. There's no chance. They probably both played games.
They're going 9.
Yeah. So my family got in the car and drove down to Houston. and I made my debut. And after the game, we went to IHOP. And I want to say Kyle would know, my parents would know it was August 3rd, maybe 2nd or 3rd. So every year on August 3rd, whoever's in town goes to IHOP to commemorate that day. Isn't that cool?
That is so cool.
And then from Houston, we went to play the Mets, and they drove up to New York from Houston and saw me pitch their game. And then that was it. But yeah, what a moment to do it with your family. Like they were just as invested as I was my whole career. The one thing I'll say is my parents went to every game that they could go to physically, and they never complained to the coaches. They never tried to, get in with the coaches. There was times in high school, my junior year, I didn't play at all. Like Benny Bryan, bless him, I didn't play. He didn't think I was any good. And my dad he knew I was good enough. He didn't say anything to Benny Bryan. When Benny Bryan rolled into tumbling, he didn't say, hey, why aren't you playing my kid? Shoot, my dad didn't play me at 13 years old. My mom's like, you're killing your son. Why are you not playing him? And he said, I can't. He's not as good as the guy that I have in there. You want me to do that? You want me to play the nepotism game? He goes, I'm not going to do it. If he would have played me at 13 when I didn't earn it or deserve it, who knows? I would have probably been soft as can be and expected everything and entitled. And he did that. He did that for me, knowing it hurt him.
I know Butch would have been having tears in his eyes, and some of those brothers of yours too. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Because I know they were crying when Matty got called up.
Oh man, it was. Again, we commemorate it going to IHOP on every August 3rd. So yeah, pretty amazing to live it with your family.
And Matty, Los Angeles Dodgers, Montreal Expos, San Diego Padres, San Francisco Giants, Arizona Diamondbacks, Florida Marlins, Colorado Rockies, Cleveland Indians, and back to the Rockies.
Yeah.
You're one of only 2 guys to ever play for all 5 teams in any division. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. That's a lot of uniforms. That's a lot of uniforms hanging up in that Herges closet.
And there's a couple there that I didn't play. Like the Pirates traded, Chris Young, the GM of the Rangers, 6'11" pitcher. They traded me for him. He was a first rounder out of Princeton, played basketball. And I go to Pittsburgh. I'm thinking, okay, they just traded their first rounder for me. I'm a guy. I got released at the end of spring training. So Pittsburgh is another one that doesn't show up. And then my last year, I was 40 years old. Dayton Moore, who's the GM at the time with the Kansas City Royals, what a great man he is. He brought me to spring training. And the first game, they got me in there. And I remember hanging a breaking ball and I murdered it. And I thought to myself, on the mound, I was 40 now, I'm thinking I can get one more year. I felt I'm done. So at the end of spring, they brought me in. They said, you didn't make the team, but we want you to go to AAA. And I said, hold on, I'm 40. You want me to go to AAA and take a kid's spot? That's not cool. They're like, no, we've got some guys coming up that we think highly of. We would love for you to mentor them and still pitch. And I said, well, I'm not going to quit. You should release me. I'm like, Dad, we don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, let me talk to my wife. So we did it. We went to Omaha last year of Rosenblatt Stadium, which is pretty cool. And we did that year. So yeah, the Royals and the Pirates, they're not on that list, but they were in there.
So that's how many organizations total then?
10.
Wow. That's a lot of unis. So cool, Matty. And, you think about the journey, the road, times that you spend. You even went to Australia and played in Adelaide because the Dodgers had an affiliation there for 10 years, and they were sending really, really good players down there. Yep. So you had that opportunity as well. Now that you've finished your career as a player and you had that year where you were the mentor, older guy pitcher, it kind of snowballed into Matty's going to be a pitching coach.
For sure. I really didn't know. You don't think about when you're playing. You don't think about what's going to happen when you're done. But that year made me think about it because I was terrible. Thankfully, just getting guys out here and there. But the last game of the season, we were in Oklahoma City. And I'm sitting in my hotel room. And they had me starting at the end of the year. So I'm prepared for my start mentally, and I'm watching ESPN, and it was the Dodgers. I don't remember who they're playing, but they showed the booth, and it was Ned Coletti. He was the GM of the Dodgers, and he was my assistant GM in San Francisco, so I knew him. So I picked up my phone, and I said, hey, Ned, just saw you in the booth. Hope you're doing great. And he texted me immediately. He said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm pitching tomorrow, and then I'm retired, and then I'm done. And he said, if you're serious about that, call me after your start. Okay. Went out, started. Called him. He said, I want you to meet me at Camelback Ranch in 2 days. I said, okay, what for? He's like, I want you to coach. have you thought about that? And I said, actually, it's funny you said that. I've been thinking about that all season because I've been basically the bullpen coach of the Omaha Royals. So went right into it, Tad. They had instructionally going on, and I fit right in there, and here we go. Now I'm coach guy.
Coach guy, and you've been a big league pitching coach, but right now you're doing the roving pitching instructor job. Not too many people know what that is. Could you please explain?
Basically, it is, hey, we need you to go into Visalia or Hillsboro, Oregon, or Amarillo, Texas, or Reno, Nevada, and basically see what's going on there. Help some guys out. There's a guy that maybe we need you to try to teach him some stuff, or the pitching coach is going on vacation. That's one thing we do now that we didn't do back in the day is we give everybody a week-long vacation, which is really cool. I'll fill in for those guys. Love doing that. Just did that in Fresno last week, but that's what it is. And then when I'm not out on the road, I'm here, and I live here in Scottsdale. We still have the best facility in baseball, in my opinion. Salt River Fields is incredible. So we have the ACL going on now, and then all the rehab guys, I'm involved with them. It's a really good gig. I'm super, super fortunate to have it.
We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back with more from Matt Hedges when we return right here on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. The Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. I'm your host, Tad Powers. The Sandlot is presented by the Sandlot Radio Network.
It was pretty much decided for me to play baseball when I was born.
The Sandlot's where it all starts, doesn't it?
I wasn't bigger than everybody. I just threw harder.
It doesn't take any talent to hustle.
If you don't pull for the Dodgers, there's a good chance you may not get into heaven.
Hey there, this is Josh Holliday, head baseball coach at Oklahoma State. I'm the proud big brother of Matt Holliday, former major leaguer, and the proud uncle of current minor leaguer Jackson Holliday. And I'm listening to The Sandlot.
She's a hot little number in her pickup truck. Daddy Sweet Money done jacked it up. She's a party all-nighter from South Carolina. A bad mama jammer from
Step up to the plate with Econoware's Solar Services. Their solar solutions deliver unbeatable energy savings, keeping your power bills low all season long. Be a game changer. Switch to clean energy today. Sandlot listeners mention the show for an exclusive discount on maintenance or repair. Call Econoware at 714-333-0130 and hit your energy savings out of the park.
Do you want more than just wins for your kids? Do you want confidence, character, and grit? At Grit Sports Collective, we help young athletes play with purpose and train with passion. With elite coaching in baseball and basketball, we're building more than skills, we're building competitors. Because greatness starts with mindset and is earned through sweat. Grit Sports Collective. Play fierce, train harder. Now enrolling in San Diego, California. Visit gritsportscollective.com and sign up today. Terramar Collective isn't just a brand, it's a tribute. Born from the Southern California coast and inspired by the legacy of a father who helped shape the board riding world literally. Terramar Collective repurposes vintage flannels and rare finds, blending timeless style with surf heritage. Honor the past, wear the story. Find us on Instagram at Terramar Collective. With so many banking options out there, why choose South Bay Credit Union? As a nonprofit credit union, they're here to serve you, not shareholders. That means they're able to provide better rates, fewer fees, and more valuable benefits to empower their members to live better and do better. You want to master your money? South Bay Credit Union puts you in control of your money with everyday banking solutions. From checking accounts to home mortgages, credit cards to auto loans, their members have access to the tools they need to achieve their financial goals now and in the future.
Looking for printed apparel for your school, business, sports team, or company event? Max Graphics LA is your solution. Go to maxgraphicsla.com today and check out our options. We offer screen printing, embroidery, and more on clothes from major suppliers. Our graphic designers can help you with your logo or design. We also offer custom online retail shops where we take care of all orders and fulfillment. Visit our website at maxgraphicsla.com or call 310-595-1195 today to get started.
Hey, it's former Major League Baseball player Matt Holliday, and I'm actually known as Jackson Holliday's dad these days. My son was the #1 overall pick, and I got another one on the way. And we still listen to Sandlot Radio. Proud to be part of the Sandlot Radio family.
Welcome Welcome back to the Sandlot, right here on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. KAVL, the Antelope Valley Sports Talk Station. I'm your host, Tad Powers. Now we have more from a former player and pitching coach in MLB, now the roving pitching instructor for the D-backs, Matt Hedges.
He's Matt Hedges. He's played for 10 different major league organizations. He's been doing this professional baseball thing for 33 years. He used to be my bat boy. You're my second bat boy to get to the big leagues. I had an Aussie bat boy named Glenn Williams who also got to the major leagues. And here's a stat for you. Glenn Williams only played in 13 major league games in his career. He got a hit in every one of them. So it's the longest hitting streak to start a career.
Yeah,
And
no way.
He hit 407 lifetime. You know, I
What
told
the
him,
heck?
I said, dude, that's a good time to just shut her down. You know, you retire hitting a 407. So he injured his shoulder and never got back. But
okay.
Oh, hey, man, look at those numbers.
Oh, I remember him. He was with Sydney, I believe, when I played there with Adelaide.
Yep.
Well, he was a first rounder with the Blue Jays?
It was actually, he was with Atlanta. He was an international free agent. And at
That's
that
right.
time, he had signed for the most that any international player had ever signed for. He's the reason I got a job with the Cubs, because they asked me, well, who's this kid? And why aren't we in on this?
Yeah.
So at that point, I had just gone through what you went through, the strike. And they gave me an option to, hey, you want the scouting job? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. Hey, Pat, that's one thing, honestly, I missed out, because most front offices have a scouting background. And to communicate with those guys, knowing the scout lingo would have helped me tremendously.
I was blown away when I saw the very first scouting report I ever saw, Matt, was my mentor with the Cubs. His name was Danny Monzone. He showed me my scouting report. My role was...
yours as a player.
I'm a 3, situational right-handed pitcher. Come in and get 2 righties that hate hitting off the Fremunda stuff and then go take a shower. And I didn't know that. I thought I'd be like a setup. Yeah. No, you're that guy that gets these 2 guys that hate hitting off of you and only ground out to short off of you.
Yeah.
So you're a 3. But guess what? That means you have some value in the major leagues. A 3 means you have situational value. You don't want to be a 2, because that's what we call a non-prospect. Right. So that made me feel good. It's like, well, at least I had a role at that level. And then there's a lot of other stuff on there that showed why I wasn't going to be a big leaguer. Like not being able to hold runners. You can steal off of this guy all day. Just stuff that blew you away. And then all of a sudden, I'm writing reports on other guys. And for the first time in my life, I have to be critical about other players. I liked everybody. I want to sign everybody. And my first year, man, I did like 250 reports because my guy, Monzone, told me that. Well, he died in the Dominican Republic in a car crash. And this is a horrible story, but before they found him, the cops, they had taken every bit of clothes off of him, all his jewelry, and even pulled out his gold fillings.
No kidding.
Because it was in a rural area between 2 cities in Dominican, right? So my next boss was like, why are you sending in all those reports? Nobody's looking at those. He goes, if you want to sign somebody, write a report on that guy, because you just sent 250 reports to the Cubs and nobody looked at them. And I was like, well, that's what Danny Monzon told me to do. It turned out he just wanted me to get educated on how to write reports, right? And so from that point on, I was writing 6 or 8 or 10 a year, because really that's all the prospects that were there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And you learn to be harsh. And man, that scouting scale is a real thing. It's based on parameters. And you either have that tool at a level that's major league acceptance or you don't. And you better have 2 of them that play at the major league level, preferably 3, right?
Yes. And the one thing, us as coaches, we really value the intangibles. We evaluate the man and what kind of heart he has. But that's when you're watching from the stands and you got to write up a kid, you don't know any of that. So it's like, he can do this, this, and this. He can't do this, this, and this, and that's it. And you can't. I'm assuming you can't be afraid to be wrong, huh? As a scout.
No, and I always was grading guys maybe too high just because I liked them. And then after a couple of bad, scouting directors saying, dude, he doesn't have a 6 arm. What are you doing? Then I got more serious about what is his arm truly right now? What is his breaking ball right now? And then you can give them higher future projections when they're young. And I would give them the higher future projection and then just be realistic about their current, right?
Current, right. But nobody has that crystal ball, though. That's what's tough.
And like what you said, it's your head, your heart, and what's in between your legs determine if you're going to do the work when nobody's looking. Because everybody will try to show off when somebody's watching them. But, man, who's grinding it when nobody knows they're grinding it?
Right. And nowadays, the showcases, I mean, we call them, we say that's a showcase kid right there. Like, he lit that showcase up, but everything else doesn't show. He's not going to, I hate to say this, but he's not a major league player. Well, he's got this and this and this. He showed it at the showcase. Trust me, the brain and the heart it's not going to let it work.
That baseball IQ thing and that being a true dirt bag is real. And there's a lot of guys that I know that became major leaguers just because of grind, heart, desire, and outworking people and just never saying this is the end. They never gave up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I had a bunch of high school friends tell me that they were better than me in high school. And I'm like, yeah, you were. But guess what? I kept playing and you went and worked at the prison. And I got better.
That's right.
I got better.
It's not for everyone.
No.
It's not for everyone, is it?
It isn't, Matty. Thanks for listening to the 9th Sandlot Show of the 2025 season. You can listen to the Sandlot every Saturday morning right here on Fox Sports 610 AM and 106.7 FM. Also streamed live on 610foxsports.com. You can catch replays of this year's and past seasons' episodes of the Sandlot Radio Show on the Sandlot Radio Show SoundCloud page. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Sandlot Radio Show for video content with the players. We also have links to our YouTube and Spotify, and please explore the SandlotRadioNetwork.com website to check out our reels and images from our long history of covering everything from the Sandlot to the big leagues. If you're interested in advertising your business on the Sandlot Radio Show, give us a call at 303-350-0655 or send a message through the website, SandlotRadioNetwork.com. Want to thank all of our guests on today's show. We had former Major League pitcher. He used to be the bat boy for Post 24 in Champaign, Illinois, when I was a player that didn't know a whole lot about the game yet. Now the roving pitching instructor for the Arizona D-backs, he's Matt Hedges. I'd also like to thank our resident baseball fanatic and producer, Nick Wright, for being our special guest host in our Who's Hot, Who's Not opening segment. Be sure to tune in next week as we'll have more great guests all season long. The Sandlot is presented by the Sandlot Radio Network and sponsored by Terramar Collective, Econo Air, South Bay Credit Union, Max Graphics LA, and Grit Sports Collective. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. It's a place of our own. It's our field. It's our neighborhood, it's our team, it's our home. I'm your host, Tad Powers.
Is this heaven?
It's Iowa. Is there a heaven?
Oh, yeah. It's the place dreams come true.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
I'd like that.
Terramar Collective isn't just a brand, it's a tribute. Born from the Southern California coast and inspired by the legacy of a father who helped shape the board riding world literally. Terramar Collective repurposes vintage flannels and rare finds, blending timeless style with surf heritage. Honor the past, wear the story. Find us on Instagram at Terramar Collective. Do you want more than just wins for your kids? Do you want confidence, character, and grit? At Grit Sports Collective, we help young athletes play with purpose and train with passion. With elite coaching in baseball and basketball, we're building more than skills, we're building competitors. Because greatness starts with mindset and is earned through sweat. Grit Sports Collective. Play fierce, train harder. Now enrolling in San Diego, California. Visit gritsportscollective.com and sign up today.
Looking for printed apparel for your school, business, sports team, or company event? Max Graphics LA is your solution. Go to maxgraphicsla.com today and check out our options. We offer screen printing, embroidery, and more on clothes from major suppliers. Our graphic designers can help you with your logo or design. We also offer custom online retail shops where we take care of all orders and fulfillment. Visit our website at maxgraphicsla.com or call 310-595-1195 today to get started.
With so many banking options out there, why choose South Bay Credit Union? As a nonprofit credit union, they're here to serve you, not shareholders. That means they're able to provide better rates, fewer fees, and more valuable benefits to empower their members to live better and do better. You want to master your money? South Bay Credit Union puts you in control of your money with everyday banking solutions. From checking accounts to home mortgages, credit cards to auto loans, their members have access to the tools they need to achieve their financial goals now and in the future.